guys, it is Elle, and today I actually have some feedback on a reading that I did. A lot of the time when I read for families or friends of families, I don't get a lot of feedback because it's an open investigation. They don't know much about the suspects. They don't have a lot of details. But in this case, when I did the reading on Maura Murray, the person who had asked me to do the reading did know about the suspects, had pictures of them, and evidently knew some of the information on their backstory and was from that area. So, that said, I was able to do the reading and they were able to provide me some pretty good feedback. And I wanted to share that with you today. And also a lesson for people that are studying this stuff, because I will start by saying I was outside in my greenhouse when I first started thinking about my psychic part 2 reading I was going to do on Maura Murray. So the first one I did was cards. If you haven't watched that, you can go back on my channel and find that one. The second one I did was kind of the attempt to locate what's around where she is at the moment. What do I see? And interestingly, in that one, a man came through. Very much a lot of information about this man. And at one point, I did see a bus wheel. That's how it works for me. It doesn't work the way people think in movies it works. It doesn't work like that at all. You don't get this whole entire story where, oh, here's this detail, you don't get that. It's not like that. What I get is I flash. For a second, I flash. It's like sometimes I'm them for a second. In this case, I was looking through his eyes. I was looking down at the bus wheel. It was a big bus wheel. And in that reading, you'll hear me say, this is making me think about Mr. Atwood, suspect Atwood, because he was the bus driver, right? And a lot of other stuff came through that reading. When I was out in my greenhouse, I started thinking about some of this, and I sat down for a few minutes and I started getting some things which I thought were odd. I was getting a lot of Christmassy type stuff, and I'm thinking to myself, this is a problem, right? With people like me. Our logical mind wants to jump in and say, no, this happened in February, right? This wasn't around Christmas time. Christmas doesn't make sense in this situation. And that was going through my head as I came back into the house. I actually did jot down what I got in the greenhouse, which was a magazine, a page. It was a 2-digit, so not, a single digit page, but a 2-digit page with a photo of a man, a child maybe in his arms and a child standing in front of him and a wife next to him. I got that in the greenhouse. I also, possibly a wife, might not have been a wife. I also got stuff you put on present decoration. I wrote it right here. Stuff you put on, oh, you can't read it because it's backwards probably. Stuff you put on present decoration. So a garland, a bow, some berries, it looked very Christmassy, very pretty. And I was getting that in the greenhouse. And I'm like, why am I seeing Christmas? All right, so then I did my reading, the second one. Again, Christmas theme. I literally am in there saying this is a Christmas theme. I'm seeing like him dressed as Santa Claus at one point, lights on his house, a big Christmas tree with a star on top, all this Christmas stuff. The thing is, when I was out in the greenhouse and I saw it, I kept saying to myself, oh, yeah, how does Christmas fit in with this? And I came back into the house and I sat down. I said, I'm going to sit down and do my hone-in reading in this room where I do my readings, not in my greenhouse. I'm really going to focus. And still the Christmas was popping through. As a medium and a psychic, you have to respect that, even though it doesn't make sense for you. The big thing we learn is say what you see. Say what you see. So I just said what I saw. I repeated all that Christmas stuff that was flashing in my head. I'm seeing a flash of a sled. I'm seeing a flash of this, a flash of that. And I just said it. So there was a lot of other stuff that came through there too. At the end of this, to me, it's just like a lot of random information. Doesn't make a lot of sense. I just put it out there. I don't know. I don't know any details about this stuff or these people. But here is the information I got back. If you have not watched reading 1 and reading 2, you may want to go back and watch those first, because otherwise this might not make a lot of sense to you. So the feedback I got was, I have to say you nailed it on the Santa with him. He owned a Christmas shop, a Christmas gift shop. Year-round Christmas lights. Interesting. That's one thing when you do psychic mediumship work, you really do get those things coming through to show you who the person is. I got the bus wheel, I got the Christmas lights, right? Another thing I saw was the person like, I saw lots of like fireplace kind of stuff. I see at one point that metal thing that you would hook a pot to and cook over an open fire. I literally said at one point, I feel like he cooked outside in a cauldron, one of those big pots. Um, my feedback, he boiled maple syrup to sell. It's boiled in a cauldron, indoors or out. Also, he was a hunter taxidermist and would boil animals. And at one point, I did get a message like he may have boiled her. I know that's terrible, absolutely terrible. But this man, being that he was a taxidermist and a hunter and would boil animals, he knew how to maybe dispose of things. I wish I had a better thing to say about that. She talks about the hand bow at one point. I don't know if it was a hand bow, and that's where I try to say what I see but not jump to conclusions. I did see something that you pull back, it's spring loaded, and then he's telling me handheld. I'm hearing in my head handheld. Was that a weapon? Our brains want to jump to that's a weapon. It makes sense in this situation. I went downstairs and I asked my husband, is there sort of a handheld spring loaded gun? Does that make any sense? And he's like, yes, there is. There's also, I guess, a crossbow, which would be handheld and spring loaded. There's even handheld spring loaded knives. So that could apply to multiple weapons. Another thing that's tempting, because I saw a weapon, is to say this person used that weapon on her and that's why she died. But that's the logical brain jumping in, just like it told me, no, nothing to do with Christmas. This happened in February. Where are you going with this? One thing as a medium, when you start arguing with the information that you receive, often that's your intuition. And you could trust it's your intuition. When you start wanting to argue with it, that's most of the time real good information. So remember that too. So same thing, right? I can just say what I see, how that was used. Was it actually the thing that murdered her? Someone else could jump on a theory that she grabbed his gun, shot herself out in the woods. He came across her and said, what do I do now? I got to get rid of this. It looks really bad, right? There's lots of angles that could go. And so I just mum's the word. At this point, though, I would say Atwood knew about her disappearance and was involved in her disappearance for sure. She also said he was a hunter. He is also a former cop. I looked that up and I saw some stuff that said he wasn't. So I'm not sure about that one, but this is from somebody from that town that said he was. If he wasn't, it's like he portrayed himself as a former cop. So that's interesting. But I knew someone who did that. People do these things. She said he was religious. So we did get that whole, traditional, you do things like this. This is good. That's bad. Not open to a lot of the other kind of more liberal mindset stuff. He seemed very conservative to me. He came across as a very good old boy. So the person also said your readings were incredible, and is looking more into the property of that. Unfortunately, the situation, that reading also said that the first thing I got was smoke and ash when I asked about where she was. I don't know if there's a whole lot of her left, to be honest, to find. Again, that's my logical brain jumping in. We shouldn't do that, but I would question at that point with me seeing smoke, ash, and things being boiled, whether there's a lot of her. And I'm sorry to be so blunt, but this is a person, Mr. Atwood, who knew how to dispose of bodies. If he was a taxidermist, that was something he did. I also was told that he passed away. So I also got in that reading, you won't, you won't catch, I'll never be caught. And if he's passed away, he won't be. So that was the information, the feedback that I got. I thought I would share with all of you and just encourage. It encourages me too to keep saying that stuff that doesn't make sense, because sometimes it is actually the thing that makes the most sense, like the Christmas stuff and Mr. Atwood owning a Christmas gift shop. I would say in this situation, Mr. Atwood definitely was involved in her disappearance. So that is my reading on Maura Murray, and hopefully we get more information in the future readings that I can share with you, because it really is nice when we can have some follow up and some closure on the readings and where the information is taking us. So thanks for listening, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.